Hi, good morning. Welcome to Professor Walsh's uwp104f Embedded Library Instructional Video. I'm Adam Siegel. I'm a research librarian in Shields Library, and I'm going to walk you through a couple of the things that you'll need to know to produce both a journal analysis report and a review of the literature. When you get started, you can see that the library's main web page is a wonderful tool for doing all kinds of things, but what we do that's sort of frustrating is bury the important stuff down here. See what this library's main web page is a wrapper that conceals the two types of databases that allow researchers to either A, find what we call a known item, something that you already know exists, or B, create a set of like things, i.e. find a selection of books on a given topic, the history of smallpox in North America, or construct a set of a review of the literature for articles published in scholarly journals that cover the efforts to combat smallpox in Pakistan in the 21st century. We hide all this stuff inside this little catalogs and databases box. When you get started, you should know that there are many, many, many databases, and in fact, so many that we have a hard time keeping track of them ourselves. What most people do when they start out is rely on the librarians to put together subject guides that will allow you to look for the most relevant resources in a given subject area. We try to make them pretty transparent. What you can rely on for this assignment is the selected general and multidisciplinary databases. As you can see here, that we have a set of leading key resources that allow you to do broadly based research across the disciplines in the library. These padlocks remind you that one of the most important things you need to know about when you get started doing research is the VPN. The VPN has buttons, blue buttons, that should be available everywhere. They're on the LibGuides pages. I'll open up another tab. They are on the library's main web page. So when you first get started doing your research, make sure you log into the VPN if you're not off campus. If you are off campus, as you can see, I'm already logged in. Once you are logged in, and it's simply your campus Kerberos login, you get a screen that looks like this. If you're comfortable and happy with the library's main web page, by all means, click through to here and just periodically check in to make sure that these guys are visible here, these little icons, and that the URL line up here is preceded by a secure HTTP VPN leader. So, one of the first things you'll need to do, though, is figure out what journal you're going to look at in your subject area, the most important journal in your field. To get to that, remember we're here in this selected general and multidisciplinary databases. And we can go down here to the Web of Science Core Collection. That is the single most important index to the scholarly literature published in the sciences in English, for the past 15 years or so. This will allow you to do research in a broad array of fields. So, for instance, if you were just starting out and you needed to find a selection of articles on, well, it says here, oil spill in the Mediterranean. What does that actually look like? Type here, and you end up with a set of 265 results, all from peer-reviewed journals, in the environmental sciences, etc., etc., etc. But what if you're starting out and you don't know what the most important journal is in your field? Well, the Web of Science provides you a tool for doing this, and it's called the Journal Citation Reports. Click here, view by subject category, submit. Pick your field. If you're interested in some aspect of medicine, biophysics, biotechnology, cardiac and cardiovascular systems, let's pick this. Click here, hit submit, and you find that you've got a list of 123 important journals in the field, and they are ranked alphabetically by title: Acta Cardiologica, American Heart Journal, American Journal of Cardiology, American Journal of Cardiovascular Drugs, etc., etc., etc. How do we find the most important one? Well, there are these JCR data. This is the value add. This is what makes this tool so valuable for people who are working in this area. You can sort by these data as opposed to just the title. The most useful one is generally the 5-year impact factor. So you click here, sort again. You will find that the most important journal from the perspective of its overall impact factor, 5-year impact factor, is Circulation. If you look at current impact factor, oops, you will get the Journal of the American College of Cardiology. So this is, you can click on this and it will tell you a little bit about the journal, which is something that you'll need to know. It tells you what the title is, how many times a year it's published, what language it's published in, who publishes it, the address of the publisher, etc., etc., etc. Journal ranking, journal summary list, category data, scope notes, etc., etc., etc. So you can scroll through all this and find out more information. Another really useful tool that I don't get to talk about a lot, it's something librarians use. We don't really list it in any of these databases. Actually, we might. It's called Ulrich's. Here it is. So Ulrich's Web is the premier source of information about journals, scholarly journals, and other kinds of journals. What you can do here is cut and paste your international serial number, and you can search Circulation, published in Baltimore, active, it's a journal, click on the title. It tells you everything you need to know about this journal. Published since 1950, it's a weekly, it's a scholarly academic journal. Yes, it is abstracted, yes, it is refereed or peer-reviewed, and it covers the field of medical sciences. It has the Library of Congress classification number, the Dewey, additional title details. Here are the places where it's abstracted, if it's available for copyright clearance, anything you'd want to know. How to buy it, price data for an individual subscription or institutional subscription. This is how much it costs a year. You can see it's rather expensive, and it is indexed in all these indexes. You can see that a given journal can be indexed in a large number of indexes. They're not all discrete sets. So biological abstracts, Biosys, Medline, indexes I've never heard of, such as calcium and calcified tissue abstracts online, article first, InfoTrack custom, blah 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 blah. So these two things will tell you pretty much everything you want to know about the journal that you're looking at, and what else you need to know about it. This can be very handy for obscure journals if you don't know where they're indexed, meaning you don't know how to get a hold of the table of contents. That's what an index is supposed to do. So moving on, we're going to stop here, pause so I can take a breath, and move on to the second half of the assignment, which is to do a literature review. Remember, we've identified our journal, circulation. We now need to go back into Web of Science and find out some more stuff about it. So we're in Journal Citation Reports. We want to get out of there and go into Web of Science. Actually, we'll go back to search. Circulation's our journal. So we can put journal as the publication name, hit search, and we will get a comprehensive set of 177,000 results from this journal. You can see that it's bold-faced. It knows exactly what we're looking for. If you wanted to make sure you weren't getting false hits, you could always double check down here. But it's pretty likely that we're only going to get the journal circulation. If you ever have any doubts, click on the hot link title. Confirm that it knows exactly what you're talking about. Yes, it does. Lippincott is the publisher. Here's the ISSN. It's Cardiovascular System and Cardiology. And now I know I can search within the contents of this journal going back to 1950, presumably. Every article should be indexed in here. And when I say by indexed, not only when you click on the title, it will tell you here are the authors, find other stuff by them. Here is the issue it was published in. It was published, in fact, just a couple weeks ago. The authors are at my old healthcare provider, Kaiser Permanente in San Francisco, and document information. This is a relatively recently published article. It's so recent that there's no abstract. One of the nice things that an index does is provides you with abstracts that tell you what the article is about before you go digging in too deeply. So we'll go back a little bit further. Maybe go... I'll pick something at random. Okay, this article from 10 years ago has been cited 4,000 times. This is a really useful thing to have. I'll get back to that in a second. Click on the title. Okay, a full-fledged indexed citation will include, again, the title of the article, all the authors hot linked, the issue number, the pagination, and then keywords. These keywords are also hot links. So if you're looking for more stuff like this topic, remember you can always think about these indexes as allowing you to construct sets of like things. So if you need to find every article on C-reactive protein, or high-density lipoprotein, or third national health type 2 diabetes mellitus, or atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, you can simply click on these guys, and you'll be taken to every record in this enormous database on this topic from every journal. Some of them are in Circulation, some of them are in the Lancet, some of them are in Clinical Therapeutics, Diabetes Care. You can see that there are all kinds of journals that cover all kinds of things, and it's very difficult to search for a topic in Web of Science, especially in the life sciences or the clinical sciences, where you won't find hundreds if not thousands of articles. So we'll just go back to our search results. We still are hoping to look for all the stuff that's in the journal Circulation. You may want to limit your search to recently published things, to most important articles in terms of the number of times they've been cited. The highest cited journal article ever published in Circulation was published in 1996, Heart Rate Variability, Standards of Measurement, Physiological Interpretation, and Clinical Use. It's been cited almost 7,000 times. So we can do things, we can click on these guys, you can create sets, you can save them to your citation management software, you can add them to your list, you can analyze the results, you can email, you can print, you can do all kinds of stuff. But one of the things we're most interested here at this point is how do I get my hands on the article? Every citation in every index should have a little orange UC eLinks button that will allow you to find the actual full text of the article. This is why the VPN is so important. If you're not within the VPN firewall, this will not work. Well, actually, neither will the Web of Science. You won't be able to see any of this stuff. If you are within the VPN firewall and you're off campus and the UC Davis Library has a subscription to a journal, you should get, ideally you'll get online access to an online version of the article. In this case, we have been taken to the home page of the journal, and here is an HTTP web page that provides you with the full text of the article, including all the bibliography, including embedded figures and tables, which you can click on and look at. You can tell this is an older article because they're lower quality scans. The newer ones have cool interactive PDFs. Or if you want to make sure that you're looking at the actual real legit version of the article as it was published in the journal, typically somewhere over here you can find a PDF link. In this case I don't see it. So here are all the figures at the end, probably a little higher quality. So remember, that is working from Web of Science, looking for UCE links, etc., etc., etc. Pay attention to things that you can do over here in the corner. You can limit by, remember, we've got everything that was ever published in this journal. We can limit within here by publication year. Say I need to look at everything that was published in since 2010. There's a number of titles, so this is actually a little bit. 2016. So just this year we have 155 articles published in this journal. So you can see that, and they're all about cardiovascular system cardiology. But not everything that's published in a peer-reviewed journal is an article. You can see that there's editorial material, there's letters, there's corrections, there's reviews. Reviews are really important when you're just starting out because they sort of sum up the state of the art, the state of knowledge about the literature. And I encourage you, if you're not already doing so, to pay attention to the reviews, the systematic reviews, when you go into the indexes to find stuff, because it's something that you'll be doing when you're starting out in your medical training. Systematic reviews are not what some people call them primary source research or empirical research or quantitative or qualitative research. What they are peer-reviewed, but what they are is a summary of the current thinking of research, the current state of the research. They will generally, a systematic review is just a counting exercise. It'll say here are all the articles that are published on this topic. The meta-analysis actually goes that extra mile and provide some sort of scientific analysis of the reviews. It's not enough to read the articles and say, I've read all the articles and here's the state of literature. X number of people say Y, and Z number of people say something else. The meta-analysis actually says the people who say X are correct, or people who have argued that using a certain treatment methodology is more useful for treating something than people who say something else, that they are correct. Whoops. So that's something to watch out for when you go into Web of Science. So remember, there are the articles, which are original research, and then there are the reviews. So at this point I usually ask for questions, but because I'm talking to my screen, I will stop here. So to sum up, as you go through the library's resources, remember that this is the wrapper. This little blue box here is what's important for the most part. If you know at this point that you want to go into Web of Science or Ulrich's Web, by all means do so. Remember, this is the database where you can look up the thing that you already know about. Web of Science Core Collection, including journal citation reports. You can start here and say, I'm only interested in those journals that cover medical ethics, because I want to be a medical ethicist. I want the most high impact factor journal in this field, and it is the American Journal of Bioethics. 5-year impact factor is very high. Impact factor is very high. It's light years ahead of everything else. Immediacy index, all these numbers are off the charts high compared to the other journals. Click on the title here. It'll tell you all you want to know about this journal. And if it doesn't tell you enough, you simply go back in here. Remember, Ulrich's is the big serials list that librarians know about, but we hardly ever tell anybody about. And I forgot the name of the journal. It's the American Journal of Bioethics, but I can search by my serial number. Find out all about this journal, including how often it's published, whether it's peer-reviewed, what kind of journal it is, what subjects it covers, additional title information, abstracting and indexing, how much it costs. You can see it's individually it's $230. It's almost $2,000 a year for libraries. These things are very expensive. And then all the places where it's been, where it can be available via full text, and also all the places it's indexed, including our Web of Science Core Collection. So go back here. What's it called? I forgot the title again. The American Journal of Bioethics. So I'm looking for everything that's been published in this journal since the beginning of time. And I get my 3,000 plus results. I'm currently looking at time cited, highest to lowest. This is the highest cited journal. You can see there the citation, the time cited isn't necessarily the most important crucial thing for a journal. We saw circulation, its high cite was about 6,000. This is by far the top ranked journal, and it's obviously a much smaller field, so the time cited will be a lot lower. If you see an article that interests you, you can click on the title. Here's the abstract. This tells you what this article is about, which can save you a bit of time if it's not exactly what you want to read. And you can see that yes, this is an article. Yes, it's in a peer-reviewed journal. Yes, it's been cited a number of times. If you want to see, Web of Science is very good about making the actual bibliography of a given article available. So these are the 32 articles that are cited in the article we were just looking at. If I want to get my hands on it, I can click on the UCE links button, and it should take me out of this indexing tool and into, oh wow, it's not available from the publisher on this format. If you ever see this, and I'm happy we saw it because I can tell you, go up to this menu and you will see that we should have, it thinks we have full text. If you don't see it directly from the publisher, try here. Keep clicking links until you get your article online. And if you can't, you can see this little resolver is grinding away, trying to find its way to another database's version of the article. While we're waiting for that, we can also just double check and make sure that the library subscribes to this journal. And we do. We have it online from, right, we only had it. The reason we couldn't find it from Taylor and Francis is because our online subscription doesn't cover that. In fact, 2000, oh, we should have it, 2006. This is good to point out because these are some of the things that you'll occasionally encounter. Screwy citations that don't quite work with one another, so we have to sort of cut and paste the title and simply look for the article within the publisher's site. And now we found it. This time it works. PDF, please let me see the PDF. And I'm off. Here's the full text of that article. Yay. All right. Well, you are more than welcome to review this video that I've put together for you at your leisure. And if you have any questions about finding stuff, I know it's difficult listening to the computer talking at you, please contact me. I'm easy to find on the library's website. You can always look at, well, you can find me via one of my subject guides, or you can go to the directories. And here I am, Adam Siegel. Where am I? Or failing that, you can look for me via some of my others. Let's see, this comes up. Here I am. Okay, you can contact me, send me email, drop me a line. And thanks very much for your attention and for your patience, and I look forward to talking to some of you outside of class, hopefully. Okay, take care.